Hi, I'm Joey Blanco from RWB Realty Group, and this is part two of the home buying process. If you haven't watched part one yet, go back and watch part one, and then we'll seamlessly transition into part two. I will link part one in the description and below. When you're thinking about your dream home, you need to prioritize your must haves and your deal breakers. You need to be thinking about location, you need to be thinking about size, style, and layout, and what are your deal breakers. Let's start with location. You need to be thinking about your proximity to work, schools, shopping, public transportation, and so forth. Look at the neighborhoods to see if those neighborhoods align with the lifestyle and long term goals that you're looking for. Do you prefer more of an urban setting or do you want to live out in the suburbs? How about the country? Or do you want to live out in the country but be close to the city so you could drive in from time to time and enjoy all the amenities that the city has to offer? So you really need to be thinking about that um, before you go touring homes. Okay. Because you don't want to be driving all over the place looking at some homes uh, in the city and then driving all the way out to the country and then driving out to the suburbs. You really need to your search down as to what exactly you're looking for. Now, maybe when it comes down to it, uh, it might come down to two properties, and uh, one is in the city and one is out in the country, and that's fine. I'm just saying, don't be so broad with um, what you're looking for. Really try to hone in on what's going to make you happy and what's going to align with what you need. Next, you need to be thinking about the size of the home. How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Square footage is a little 1,200 square foot house good enough for you because maybe you're an empty nester and you don't need all that space? Or do you have a large family of five or six and you need a 3,000 square foot home? you know, Really think about, size. And we could put search engines in that will eliminate anything below 2,500 square feet or, 1,200 square feet or whatever parameter that you say. Uh, that way we can eliminate those homes right off the bat. Think about style and layout. Are you more of a historic property person or do you like the new construction? Um, those are things that you're going to have to think about when you're prioritizing what kind of house you're going to be searching for. Uh, Now, I save deal breakers for last because I believe it's the most important. What is a deal breaker? Um, is it homes that are fixer uppers and they need a lot of work? Maybe you're not a handyman or maybe you just don't want to deal with it and you want more of a turnkey move-in ready home, you know. And so what your realtor could do is all of the fixer uppers, we could just eliminate those from the search. Personally, a deal breaker for me is homes that have a driveway with a really steep incline or a home with a driveway with a really steep decline. Um, Personally, I prefer the homes that the driveway is level with the street. But to other folks, that may not bother you. So you really need to pick out what the deal breakers are. And then that way your realtor can just eliminate those right off the bat. So we're not wasting any time looking at homes that have a deal breaker. Okay, so now you found your home. And so before we go into the next slide, which is going to be making the offer, you need to be thinking about what are the market trends? What is the market doing? And this is something that your realtor can really help you understand. Are we in a seller's market or are we in a buyer's market? And so we do know that sellers markets is when the demand is high and inventory is low. A buyer's market is the opposite of that. So many times, especially in the years past when the markets have really been hot and heavy, and I would take a buyer to go look at a couple of houses and they would find the one and I could tell, man, this is the house. But it's a big purchase, and I understand these homes are hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's going to be the single largest investment that you're ever going to make. So the buyer wants to go home and sleep on it. Well, a lot of times in the seller's market, if you take a lot of time to sleep on it, that house is going to be gone. By the time the buyer said, you know what, I think we're ready to put an offer in. Well, there was already an offer put in, and it was already accepted, and now we need to go on to the next one. Now, I'm not telling you that you need to rush into a decision. I'm just saying that as you're looking at these homes, you need to actively be thinking, is this the right one? And really, by the time we're done looking at homes, maybe go home, think about it for an hour or two, while I'll be drafting up the offer, because I want to be ready the second you say go. You've got it in your inbox. Um, if you tell me go and then I take a couple hours to draft it up, then somebody else can swoop in there. So I would rather write up the offer while you're thinking about it. And then if you decide, nah, I'm going to keep looking, then it's no big deal. I just delete the offer and we move on. The main takeaway here is just to understand whether or not you're in a buyer's market or a seller's market so that you can adjust your strategy accordingly and give you the best chance to get that property that you want. All right. So now we're talking about making an offer and negotiating like a pro. And so let's talk about the process. We need to talk about price, contingencies, and earnest money. Now, I already told you in a seller's market, we're not going to have uh, very many contingencies. Now, of course, there are some contingencies that are just built in. All right. So the home purchase will be contingent upon you getting a home loan. And it will also be contingent upon the home appraising at the price that you guys agreed upon. I'm not talking about those types of contingencies. I'm talking about the contingencies where you have to sell a home first, um, and so forth. Now, price, when you're in a seller's market, just understand everybody wants to wheel and deal. I get it. And so you see that house that's for sale and they're asking 2049. And the natural instinct is just to take it down to a nice even 200. Well, if you're in a seller's market and there's multiple offers, I would say you have a very low chance of being successful with that offer. More than likely, you're going to have to come in either right at the asking price, or a lot of times you're going to have to come in a little bit higher. And it's important that you get with your realtor, have your realtor do a comparative market analysis just to make sure that the offer that you're putting in, I wouldn't just do a willy nilly 10 G's over, because maybe the homes in the neighborhood can't support it when it comes appraisal time. And so have your realtor do the CMA and make sure that the offer aligns with what the market is doing. All right. And so, and I'm just going to jump right to the last one, when to walk away. Now, I've been in situations personally where me and my wife were in love with a house, and it was that time of the market where it was a heavy seller's market and it was a bidding war situation. And it came down to us and another buyer. And we were starting to get wrapped up emotionally. We wanted that house so bad that we started uh, making offers that were just, they were unrealistic. And the seller knew that that offer was unrealistic. And so the seller wanted to put a contingency that no matter what the appraisal said, that we would buy the house. And actually that little verbiage that they put in their counter offer was kind of a wake up call, um, for me, and a lesson. Uh, learn when to walk away because I was not willing to pay, uh, whatever price, no matter what the appraisal says. I will always only pay what the appraisal says. And, you know, like I said, we got a little carried away with that one, but it was a lesson learned. And so we walked away, and somebody else got to buy the house, and they said that they would be willing to pay $50,000 over appraised price. And so, you know what? They could have it, and I hope they live happily ever after in that home. Okay, I went off on a little tangent there, but let's bring it back. Okay. So, negotiation strategies. Now, understand that you're going to make an offer, maybe you get a counter offer. And so if you get a counter offer, then that's fine. Okay. We're wheeling and dealing now. Just know that that's not the end of negotiations, really. So once the offers and the counter offers go back and forth, and now we've agreed to a price, well, it's time for inspections. And so when you're doing those inspections, there's going to be another opportunity to perhaps get some more seller's credits just based on the condition of the house. And so let's jump right into that. And that's navigating the home inspection. And so I always, and I cannot say this um, enough. I highly recommend that you get a home inspection. Only the absolute experts at home buying should consider not getting a home inspection. And there's only certain situations to where an expert home buyer would do that. And typically those are investment properties. And so if you're looking at an investment property and you're that type of investor where you're a professional and you're a house flipper, for example, normally when you go look at a house, if you're a house flipper, you're going to bring your general contractor with you. And basically the showing is kind of a home inspection. And so when you make the offer, you can make the offer waiving the home inspection. That looks really good to the seller because that's one less thing that they have to worry about. But for the rest of us, it is absolutely imperative that we get a home inspection. Okay. Your home inspector is going to look for foundation issues, roof damage, plumbing leaks, electrical problems, and they're going to list out a laundry list of things that are wrong with the house. Um, it doesn't matter if it's a new construction house or a house that was built in 1902. Uh, they're going to come up with a laundry list of things because that's what they get paid to do. Actually, sometimes the new construction homes have a longer list than the older homes because the older homes have been, taken care of over the years, and all the things that were wrong with them were taken care of. But I digress. Uh, it is very important to get that home inspection. And so we've got the home inspection done, and now it's time to negotiate repairs, like I just talked about a little while ago. And so this is the time where you're going to get with your realtor and you're going to have them draft up a TRR. And a TRR is treatments, replacements, and repairs. And so basically what that is you're going to get your list from your home inspector, and then you are going to go and you're going to ask for what you want repaired or replaced or treated. And, treated could be termites. Now, termites is one of those things that if you're getting a home loan, it is a mandatory that it be treated for termites. You cannot waive that and say, oh, I'll just take care of that myself. No, if you're getting a home loan, you have to have the home treated for termites. But the rest of the stuff is up to you. Um, maybe you've got a window that doesn't open or the glass is broken. And you know what? You don't want to deal with that. You want that corrected before you move in. Well, this is when you'll negotiate that. And the seller could actually respond in several ways. They could either say, yes, I'll replace the window. They could say, no, I'm not going to replace the window, but I'll give you a $500 credit and you can replace the window when you move in. Or they could say, look, I'm not replacing the window and I'm not giving you a credit. The home is being sold as is. So it's up to you to decide, all right, let's talk about deal breakers again. What repairs or what issues that the home inspector found that is a deal breaker now? And this is your opportunity to walk away. And so if there are too many things, let's say that the roof has extensive hail damage and they never had it replaced. Well, a lot of times the roof is a deal breaker because you'll have a heck of a time getting homeowners insurance with a bad roof. A lot of times they just straight up will not write the policy if the roof is bad. And so you need to be thinking about those deal breakers and you need to understand that you are able to negotiate some of those repairs. All right. So we negotiated repairs. We came to an agreement. They're going to put a new roof on the house or whatever you decided. And now we are at closing day. So typically on closing day, we're going to do the final walkthrough. Um, Sometimes it's okay depending on, the time of closing. You could do the walkthrough maybe the day before. Personally, I recommend doing the final walkthrough uh, hours before closing, and I'll tell you why. A house that I sold uh, the morning of closing, I decided to just do one more checkup of the house just to make sure everything was okay, before closing. And open up the front door. The house was empty. We had moved everything out. Open up the front door, and I smell this horrible stench. And I was like, oh my goodness. I go into the house, and it's very strong sewer type smell. Go into the basement. Lo and behold, the uh, well, the sewer backed up into the basement. And so now I was at the house the day before and it was fine. Everything was perfectly fine. The morning of closing, I got sewage in the basement. And so, of course, I'm in a panic. Um, Immediately called the realtor on the other side for the buyer, let them know of the problem, and we were able to come to a resolution, thankfully. So, but had I not checked and had the buyer not done a walkthrough hours before closing, then we would have signed all the paperwork. He would have gotten the keys, and then he would have went to his new home, opened up the front door, and been surprised with the sewage smell and all of the raw sewage that was backed up into the basement. And I, you know, I wouldn't have known about it because I wasn't there the morning of. And then he wouldn't have known about it because he didn't do a final walkthrough. So luckily I went and I was able to report it to the buyer and we were able to come up with a resolution. He was into construction and so he sent his plumber out and the plumber gave an estimate and we agreed on a price and we were still able to close that day. But that I tell that long story because it is so important to do your final walkthrough as close to closing as possible. All right, so you do your final walkthrough, and now you're at the closing table and you're signing documents. You're going to sign sometimes anywhere from 30 documents to sometimes these closing packages are like 100 pages long, and you're going to just be signing and signing and signing. Well, if you're anything like me, you like to read everything before you sign on the dotted line. And so what I would recommend is because these closings are only scheduled for like 1 hour and you can't go through 150 pages of documents in 1 hour if you're reading all of that legalese. So what I do is I like to get a copy of it the day before or 2 days before. The closing office can provide you with an e-copy. They'll send you a PDF and you could read that sucker all the way through. That way, on closing day, you're already familiar with the documents that you're signing. If you do have questions, you can ask some quick questions, but you're able to sign. After you're done signing, you're going to receive the deed, you're going to receive the mortgage note because you're going to have payments unless you pay cash for the home. And then you're going to receive the closing statement that just gives you the laundry list of all of the fees and expenses and where all that money um, that you just spent went to. And so, uh, some common hiccups that we do see from time to time are personal checks. So, when you're told to bring $5,000 to closing, you cannot bring a personal check. I can't say that enough. Do not bring a personal check. They will not accept it. You have to bring a cashier's check only. You cannot bring cash. Uh, if you only have to bring $1,000 to close, you can't bring $1,000 cash, and you can't bring $1,000 personal check. It has to be a cashier's check issued from the bank, or you could wire the money. A lot of people go that route, but please be careful of wire fraud. You need to get specific instructions from the closer, and you need to follow those instructions to the T. Okay, so we've reached the end. And so, you found your dream home and you went through the whole process and you closed on it. And now you're going to live happily ever after. And so I say all of that to say, give us a call. If you're ready to go through this process that I just laid out for you, we would be more than happy to walk you through it step by step. At RWB Realty Group, Brandy and I, we have the heart of a teacher, and there are no dumb questions. We will walk you through the process step by step. We will never sell you on a property. We'll always make sure that that property is going to meet the needs that you relayed to us that you need. When you work with us, we will always make sure that your needs are number one, not our needs. It's your needs. You're the one that's buying the house. You're the one that's spending the money on the single greatest investment that you'll ever make. And so we are here to take care of you. We're here to help you and teach you the process as you go through it. That way you understand. We'll never ask you to sign anything that you don't completely understand first, even if I got to explain it three different ways, because some of this stuff can be very confusing. And so just give us a call and we would be happy to help you out. I hope this video was informative. I hope that you like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting more of this content, and in the future, maybe some home tours. But if you made it this far, thank you for hanging in there, and we'll see you in the next one.